and welcome everybody. My name is Cassandra Trezise, and today I have a really fun guest with us. This is Denise, one half of the Tassie Snowbirds. Welcome, Denise.
Welcome. Thank you, Cassandra. It's lovely to meet you.
It's lovely to have you along today, and I love that we can talk to you about all of the travels that you've done throughout Australia, because we really are living in what is a really unique but very exciting time where we have the opportunity to get out in our own backyard. That, I think, is extraordinary, and I absolutely love your story. So yourself and your husband, Guy, are home 12 months of the year, out traveling in normal times, out traveling 12 months a year, basically chasing the summers.
We are. We love heading to mainland Australia, as we call it, from Tassie. We miss our winter. It's lovely. So the summers are all about that year that we're away.
Getting out and exploring, and you've done some exceptional exploring yourselves, and I love your blog. So if anybody would like to go ahead and hop on your blog, I'd encourage them all to do so, and I'm actually going to pop a link in the comments here today, but just in case, it's www.tassiesnowbirds.com.au. That's correct, isn't it?
That's right, yes.
Good. But we really wanted to have a chat today about one of your favourite trips, and that was Northern Queensland.
Oh, Queensland's a magic place. We love Queensland, and we've been there a couple of times actually. Yeah. But yeah, it's a beautiful spot. Sunny, and that's what we're after. Sun.
Always sunny, always warm in Queensland. It's quite delightful. Now, I love talking about this region because I personally don't think that it gets as much airtime as what it should. And I'm talking about the region from Townsville in North Queensland, of course, all the way through and up, and even to the west slightly. And that is a journey that you've done not so long ago.
It is. It's a lovely journey. That one from Rockhampton, from Townsville actually up. It's beautiful. You pass through all the little sugar towns. We've been lucky enough to be there when they've been burning the sugar, which is an experience of its own. All the beaches. So you've got you've got the beaches, you've got the rainforest, you've got the volcanic tablelands, and you've got the outback. So you've got everything in Queensland.
Absolutely. And starting in that Townsville region, I love that you mentioned about the burning of the sugarcane, because I experienced that myself just a couple of years ago for the first time. I've got family in the region and I'd never experienced it before. And it's quite, it's quite nerve-wracking at first because you don't realize how incredibly big the fires are. But gee, it's amazing. It happens like that, doesn't it?
It does, and we were lucky enough. We wondered what was going on because it's like a snow that falls when you're travelling, and especially of a night when they are burning off. And we were lucky to have a chap in one of the caravan parks we were staying in, and he took us out to the burn. So we watched it right from the start, which was really good. It was just an experience on its own.
Yeah, absolutely. That's very cool, isn't it? Certainly, I wouldn't necessarily love all of the soot and ash in my house if I was up there, but for us who are passing through, it's a great experience.
Yeah, and the sugar cane it dominates the skyline, virtually all the way up that coast.
It is, isn't it? It's really quite from the Bundaberg, Wide Burnett region, isn't it? All the way through to that Townsville region.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. And the other area, I guess, around Townsville that I really enjoy talking about is that Tully Gorge National Park.
Oh, Tully Gorge is absolutely beautiful. And even Tully on its own, the wettest city in Australia.
Is it really? Wow, I did not know that.
The wettest city in Australia. It vies, I think, with Babinda. Is the other town close by, so I think they're in close competition to claim the title.
Isn't that fantastic? And of course, in Tully Gorge National Park, there's so much opportunity to get out, hike, whitewater rafting. You like to get around on your bikes when you're in the area, which is fantastic.
lots of area up there to ride your bikes. In fact, Cairns, the Atherton Tablelands, all through there, they have some great mountain bike trails.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's move up to Cairns, because that is quite a spot that I think a lot of Australians really need to get to. And certainly the beaches, the Palm Cove, northern beaches of Cairns, right up to Port Douglas, are exactly what you would expect of North Queensland, but more so from there, going into the Kuranda rainforest and up into the Atherton Tablelands. I
Oh,
think you agree, it's beautiful.
it's beautiful. Yes, it is. It's a really beautiful part of the country. Karanda's lovely. It's like a little village in the rainforest.
Yeah, isn't
I
that?
think
And
what
they've
they
set that train, haven't they, to go up to Kuranda?
gyro that goes from Cairns up to Kuranda, and that's beautiful. And it's quite a long train. I think it goes for about 70. I'm not quite sure how many kilometres, but I know it goes quite a way. And it's the older carriage, the original carriages. It's beautiful, and it's a beautiful little village.
Yeah, that's spectacular.
Walking trails in the rainforest. It's a really lovely little village, and it really is worth visiting if you're in the Cairns area.
Absolutely. And the markets there, I recall being quite fabulous too.
So great.
Yeah. Did you buy something last time you were there at the markets? Can you remember?
No, the first time we went through, we stopped at the markets.
Mm-hmm.
Not this time, not the last time, but we have more things at the markets there. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, definitely. And then up into those tablelands, because what I love about the transition between the rainforest and the tablelands is most definitely the complete change in landscape, even though you are still in quite a cooler, denser region in the tablelands. It feels very, very different to the rainforest of Kuranda.
Oh, it does. And you're coming into the volcanic area now, where all the crater lakes and beautiful little towns like Herberton and Mareeba and Yungaburra. They're all beautiful little towns up there. But it's coffee region, and it's mangoes. It's a smorgasbord up there.
Isn't that
The forest, yes.
You just
And
said two of my favourite things, coffee and mango. So I'm really, really happy.
And they've got some lovely sites, like the Crater Lakes are beautiful to visit, and there's some great national parks and walks up there. Again, there's great mountain bike trails. And they have, like, the Rocky Creek Memorial is dedicated to our armed forces. That's just an incredible place to visit. It's just a park, a huge park where you can actually camp as well, but it has all these stones dedicated to the armed forces. It's was probably Australia's biggest training camp for the armed forces up there. So there's a lot of history in the Atherton Tablelands as well.
Yeah, see, that's the point. We were having a conversation before talking now, because it's lovely just to hear stories, isn't it? And one thing that we both realised is the history of Australia is not probably as well known or discussed when we're traveling versus perhaps when we're going overseas. Like if we're going to Italy, into Rome, we know about the Colosseum and the Trevi Fountain. We know about these things and we read about them. But sadly, perhaps we don't know as much about the history in these smaller regions of Australia. But I loved when you were telling me about Wheelbarrow Way, because I knew nothing about this.
Oh, now we're heading into the outback.
Yes.
Into the outback. The Wheelbarrow Way is between Mareeba and Chillagoe. So from there, it's a four-wheel drive track if you want to continue on to Corumba, which is still part of Queensland. But the Wheelbarrow Way was, it's named after the wheelbarrows that were pushed by the guys, the mining people that carried their wares, everything they owned, with family in tow, up to Chillagoe to mine. It's got a wonderful history all on its own. There's a few little towns along that way too that have the history, and it's just an amazing little track to follow, that one.
Yeah, that sounds really interesting. And I think that again is just those little insights into the Australian history that you learn as you travel these untraveled roads, if you will, if you go a little bit away from perhaps the coastline and get a little bit deeper into our history. And I know that you've been to Cape Tribulation, but I also recall that you said to me that Cooktown, I almost said Cape Town, that's not a place, Cooktown was one of your very favourite places to visit.
Oh, Cooktown's lots of history in Cooktown. It's only a little town, but it's a lovely little town. And if you travel from the Atherton Tablelands, you can actually do the triangle. If you can't quite make it to Cape York, the triangle takes you through Laura and Lakefield National Park, over Bloomfield Track and back to Cooktown, and then back down through the Daintree and into Cairns. And that's a lovely little track that can be easily done in a weekend.
Yeah, I was going to ask you how far apart, like how many kilometres that might look like. Do you recall?
No, I don't. But I think we did over about 2 or 3 days, but there's some lovely little camps along the way, and it's beautiful just to see the little town of Laura. But coming back into Cooktown, Cooktown's just a lovely little town on the Endeavour River, named after Captain Cook, obviously.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, no, that's a lovely, and there's lots of little sites around there too. Like there's the Lion's Den Hotel, which is an iconic pub you stop into, everyone stops into, and you've got a couple of off-road tracks, the Bloomfield track, and you know they're just great little tracks to do. But you do need a 4-wheel drive to do those.
Absolutely, absolutely. I just think it's just so exciting to speak with you here today and hear about these little tracks and these little towns that we can visit. And I think that that is the beauty of being able to read your blogs and to speak to people that have already traveled to these places, to get those little hints and tips along the way. And certainly, as I said, to perhaps get off the beaten track a little bit more and to explore what our gorgeous country, Australia, has to offer. But Denise, it has been an absolute pleasure speaking to you today. But before we go, I would like to ask you, is there one particular spot, aside from perhaps Cooktown that we've spoken about today, that really holds close to your heart, that really is very, very high on those favourite memories?
Oh, Cassandra, do you know everyone asks that question? I have to say, Australia is one big place, and we've travelled right round Australia, but every place that we have visited has got its own special quality, its own special history. There's something that doesn't quite compare to somewhere else we visit, and I have to say that every place that I visit is my special place.
Oh, that's nice.
That because there's not really one place that I can single out that I could say is. We have our tracks like the Simpson Desert and the Telegraph track that we love, yes. But then you do another one and you think, right, that's up on top of the list too.
Yeah. Oh, I completely understand. Well, Denise, thank you so much for your time today. Thank you so much for sharing all of your adventures. We look forward to catching up again and keeping in contact via your excellent blog. Thank you, and I will see you again soon. Bye for now.
Thank you. Bye.